Hello and welcome to the session. Today we will show you an innovation that can transform manual cross-company business processes into fully digitized end-to-end value chains. My name is Benjamin Stoeckhert. I'm part of the SAP Innovation Center Network blockchain team, and I'm very happy to have Stefan Schluchter from the SAP Workflow team with us today.
Thank you, Benjamin. Hello and welcome. My name is Stefan Schluchter, and I will introduce you to SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management today. And I'm quite excited to be in this session here with you today.
And I'm also very pleased to have Kevin O'Grady from ARUP today with us.
Hello, I'm Kevin O'Grady, Associate Director on ARUP, and I'm pleased to talk to you today about a proof of concept in blockchain in construction.
So before we jump right into the topic, I would like to give you some context about the relevance of blockchain in an enterprise context. So to have a value creating blockchain scenario, you need basically three ingredients. First of all, of course, you need a blockchain technology. And luckily, there are several enterprise robust blockchain technology protocols out there in the market that are mostly based out of open source communities and are used already today for mission critical enterprise processes. And processes are actually the second dimension, right? Because blockchain always takes place in a situation where you have a decentralized business network with cross-company business processes that are executed between the participants of such networks. And we at SAP, we bring our industry know-how and our process know-how to the table to identify the right scenarios and build the corresponding solutions. And blockchain is all about open collaboration. So it's basically a team sport. So you need a business network. And we at SAP, we work with our ecosystem and customer to kickstart those networks and move them into a productive stage. So what are the key characteristics that make blockchain relevant in an enterprise scenario? So first of all, blockchain is a distributed ledger technology. And I like this term much better than blockchain because it describes much better what we are talking about. So first of all, blockchain is a ledger. And a ledger is basically a transaction log that records all transactions related to a specific topic. So for example, a land register would give information who owned or currently owns a particular piece of land or real estate. And a blockchain is a ledger that records all transactions in a business network that can contains multiple participants like independent companies, regulators, NGOs, individuals, and other organizations. But a blockchain is a distributed ledger. So what does this mean? So it basically means that there's no central controlling party that is operating a central ledger for the business network. Instead, each participant of the network has their own copy of the ledger. Yeah, we use cryptography to store all the data on a blockchain in an immutable and tamper-proof way. This creates digital trust. So what does a blockchain really provide? It's basically a single source of truth that provides two things: data consistency, because it makes sure that all the copies of the different participants hold the exact same transactional information in the same order. And it creates digital trust because all parties can access this transactional information. They know it has not been manipulated, so they can verify it. In the past, we always needed a trusted third party, a middleman for that. And with blockchain, for the first time in history, we can provide those features with a technology. So blockchain is always relevant in a decentralized business network where you don't have a kind of middleman, trusted third party that orchestrates multi-party business processes, or if all the other participants in the network want to get rid of those middlemen and cut them out of the value chain. So what is the motivation for our innovation today? So we have been working with a lot of those decentralized business networks, and we will show you an example today. So what is really a lessons learned is if you zoom into the business processes, it's clear to see that as long as you are within one particular company, within the internal processes, like with company A or B, for example, they are very powerful tools to extend and digitize business processes, like SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management is such a tool. But as soon as we come into the collaboration steps of the processes, where multiple parties are involved, the collaboration is very manual and based on point-to-point interactions where manual information is exchanged via paper or in a digital form, or sometimes even via phone calls. So this is, so to speak, the situation, and this creates a lot of problems. Like always with manual processes, yeah, they are prone to errors and delays, and even to disputes in this case, because there is no consistent view on data. So therefore, there are conflicting records, isolated records that hardly talk to each other. And to solve those problems and transform the way how cross-company business processes are executed, we're proposing an innovation called cross-company workflow collaboration service that you can see in the middle. And this provides basically a bridge between what is already there, so SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management, which has a lot of powerful tools to extend and integrate business processes. And we bring this into a context where it can be used for decentralized business networks to extend and integrate cross-company business processes end-to-end and achieve an end-to-end automation. So now, before we jump into this topic, show you a real-world application and a demo, I would like to ask Stefan to give us an overview about SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management.
Thank you very much, Benjamin, for this nice introduction into a topic. Yeah, SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. Let me just clarify what kind of workflows, what kind of processes we are taking care of. Of course, there are the big processes like lead to cash, recruit to retire, design to operate, or even source to pay. And they are covered within an intelligent enterprise, within the intelligence suite, for example, in SAP S/4HANA. But of course, there's more. There's more behind these standardized business processes, these non-standard workflows, extensions of the standard business processes, for example, or if you want to create net new workflows, net new business processes. This could be in different areas, could be, think just of certain approval levels you would like to include, and with that also extend your business process. Or think of net new processes you would like to create. And this is what we are taking care of, so that you are really able to go the last mile of automation with the help of SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. When we take a look at processes itself, I mean, processes are complex. And having complexity is not a bad thing itself, but you need to be able to handle this complexity or to simplify this complexity for the end user. In addition to that, and Benjamin also mentioned this, processes are still too manual, or parts of processes are manual. And this, of course, leads then to errors, inefficiencies, and also to higher costs. And this we clearly need to avoid. When we take a look what Cloud Platform Workflow Management it also is all about, in essence, it's a service offering which you can use to digitalize workflows. You can automate and also extend business processes. With the help of business rules, you are flexibly able to manage decision logic and at the end also gain end-to-end process visibility. So really, from the start to the end of a process flow, you know what's going on. You can define certain KPIs and really also measure and compare them. Finally, you can get access to all the tasks which an end user should do with the help of the My Inbox application. In addition to that, we are also providing deep integration, for example, to SAP Intelligent RPA. So whenever you have kind of unstructured tasks you would like to automate, but also to conversational AI in case you would like to also add an, let's say, a digital assistant who can support you, who can help you with your day-to-day tasks. So all in all, really a combined service offering, which really goes the last mile of digital process automation. When we take a closer look under the hood, and now don't get scared with this picture, of course, we have connection points. On the one hand side, we are using REST to connect, for example, to SAP business applications, to extend their processes, to orchestrate also processes in case we are really centrally orchestrating the stuff. But there are also events where this is not possible. So where you need further integration capabilities, and therefore we are using SAP Cloud Platform Integration Suite. On the other hand, of course, the acceptance from the end user is very important when we talk about business processes. So therefore, we are also connecting, for example, with the mobile services to be able to also to connect to mobile devices, to get access to actually to the tasks from the mobile devices. On the other hand, what also becomes important more and more, not only to hide, let's say, the complexity for the business user, but also enable them, because they know best how the processes should run, enable them to adapt processes, to change them, and really react on ever-changing business requirements. And this we are doing with the process flexibility cockpit, and also providing you content which you can use as accelerators at the end. So to summarize what you can do with workflow management, which benefits you will gain on the one hand side, due to the better level of automation, of course, you can free up your people doing more meaningful work, more valuable work at the end. You are able to really be compliant. So you have all the logs, all the information stored, of course, in the system, and also are able, with the help of a business rule, to implement any kind of policies within your processes and workflows. And finally, and this is the big goal, and really fits also very nicely together here, that you are able to flexibly adapt your business processes, really tailor them to the business requirements, or even what we have seen now also to fix broken processes, to also automate probably broken manual parts within a process. So when we take a look what's coming also with SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management, there's a whole bunch of content which we are delivering. So content which a business user can use to really create their own business variants, their own business process variants based on certain templates. So within the templates, you have certain process tabs you can adapt, business rules, of course. So whenever there are, for example, approvals necessary, you can define independently of the process flow who should be involved, for example. And then you will also get process visibility scenario templates, which you can use to measure really the performance of your process at the end. Everything what you see is available within the SAP API Business Hub, can be consumed, can be imported into your landscape. And by the way, there's also a trial environment available where you can just try it out and check what is important there for you. So what kind of use cases do we currently have as content out there, which you can use as accelerators? This is really just a few examples. What we have there could be net new process lease, for example, capital expenditure approval process, could be extension also in SAP ERP when we talk about purchase requisition, approval and release, or also the maintenance of purchase info record. But of course, could also be processes running in SAP S/4HANA when the onboarding, for example, and some other scenarios where we're also providing visibility end to end. So this was just a short overview on Cloud Platform Workflow Management. And with that, I hand over again to Benjamin.
So thank you very much, Stefan. So how do we now build a bridge between SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management and the decentralized business networks? Well, you can see on the bottom of the slide, the distributed ledger technology network serves as a neutral enabling layer to facilitate consistent data exchange across company boundaries and to create digital trust. And with the Cloud Platform cross-company workflow collaboration service, we build a seamless bridge between those networks and SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management, and consequently also the workflow content and the SAP-enabled business processes. However, a distributed ledger technology is a neutral level and a neutral layer, basically. This is very important to understand. So also companies like Company N, for example, they don't have any SAP products, but they can still connect to the network and, for example, build an integration into a third-party workflow or business application to participate in the cross-company business process. So let's look deeper into the features we are providing with the cross-company workflow collaboration service. And the key functionality is really to send and process cross-company tasks from local workflows. So for example, you can see here Company A, and they could define a local workflow with SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. What we provide them is the possibility to define a collaboration task. So a task where they ask, for example, for approvals from external companies. And they can easily register this task on the distributed ledger, and the other companies can see if there is a task assigned for them. And if this is the case, they can automatically trigger a local decision workflow where they collect the approvals or the decisions basically from their local decision makers or the internal decision makers. Once the processes are executed, they can register the outcome on the distributed ledger and make it available for Company A. And we have used this principle and this feature in a very successful customer pilot in the UK around one of the biggest construction programs in Europe with the name HS2. So here the goal is to build a new railway network to connect the north and the south of the UK. So we worked actually with around 8 companies. So we had the client, HS2, we had a design company, ARUP, a supply team from Tata Steel. They were supplying the steel for all the construction work, but also T2 contractors like construction companies like Wood, for example. We connected them all via a distributed ledger. And we selected one of the very many complex multi-party business processes you can find in such a program. And this one is around a specific project. So you can imagine such a program like HS2 has a lot of projects, like for example, the construction of a train station or a tunnel. And we selected a process where the project is already defined. And the next step is that the design company proposes a 3D digital model, for example, for a train station. So this needs to be approved by several companies that I mentioned above already. So for example, the client and the contractor. Then also the company who actually would build this train station needs to get an approval for the specifications of the materials they would like to use for the construction before they can actually get started. So there they need to get an approval, for example, from the design company and the contractor that everything is okay. Then once the material is purchased and delivered, before the payment from the client to the supplier, for example, for a steel panel that was delivered by Tata Steel and now has to be paid by the client, before this can happen, several independent parties have to approve that the delivered material was delivered on time and according to the right specifications. And again, here we need again this multi-company approval. And yeah, today this is a very manual process. And with our approach, we were able to digitize this process end to end and to orchestrate it also end to end. And I'm very happy to have Kevin here with us today. So he actively participated in the POC. So Kevin, could you tell us a little bit about ARUP?
Yes, ARUP is a global architectural engineering firm, and we probably at the start of your chain that's shown on the diagram there, where the employee's requirements are turned into a specification. It's that specification that drives the process in any construction program.
Okay, great. So could you give us an idea how our innovation helps to optimize this process from your perspective today?
Yeah, and it was a very good process, over a 2.5-year process, where we looked at the different data exchanges across the construction process. Obviously, at the very beginning, we've converted the HS2 requirements into a specification. That was then assigned to the blockchain. That then influences when we go to tender. In this case, it was for Tata Steel. So we set the requirements for them to respond to that tender. And here you can actually add extra data within that for them to put forward, and it helps us that transparency. Because as a specification goes through construction sites, there's many changes, and we need that record of information to make sure where those changes have been made. I know recently in the Grenfell inquiry, they said that there needed to be in the Hackett report, there needed to be a golden thread of information, and this process definitely proves that with having the information stored on blockchain, we can have that audit trail, that single source of truth, and that trust and transparency in order to track that information back to the source of the truth.
Okay, great, thanks. And how can this innovation contribute actually to the bigger picture of digitizing the construction industry?
Yeah, this was a good part within the proof of concept. Although this is the small but needed part of the process of construction, from employers' requirements to feasibility to payment and then final handing over of a construction site, the actual information loop is much wider. So the information starts with the specification, it moves into manufacturing, which is this stage, but then the longer period of any construction is the in-use stage, where the actual operator will use the asset. And without that break in link, we're not gaining the information at the in-use stage to gain that information of did the actual specification performed as planned? And then if you look to the ultimate end of when the actual asset has to be deconstructed, it's very important that if we'd asked at construction stage all the environmental product data, that's EPD data, we would actually know at the earlier stage, at tender stage, we would actually know how much will be assigned to landfill. So the more that we can reduce at tender stage during the tender process, the better chance we have of reducing landfill and actually picking a higher performance team. So we know that manufacturing companies already are looking at this, and we know that Renault, working with the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, are actually looking to get their subframe of their cars back into the supply chain. So they actually want the subframes of their cars back, which is good. The more that we can reuse materials in construction or in manufacture, the less we have a drain on the natural resources. So we know also that if your own car in your second-hand car market, we know that when we sell a car, it has a higher value if it has a logbook and a service record. Same way that we see that building materials will have a higher second value and actually more likely to be reused if they have a digital passport, a proof of ownership, a logbook that can actually track it back to its original origins.
So it also contributes to sustainability in the circular economy. Thank you. So inspired by this project, we prepared a demo scenario for you to demonstrate our capabilities. So in our demo scenario, we have basically 3 companies involved. So you can see in the middle, CCP Buildings. On the left side, Top Builder. So CCP Buildings is the contractor that is responsible for many projects. And the subcontractor, Top Builder, is responsible for one project, one construction project. In this case, the construction of a train station in London. And on the right side, there's also the design company, BIM PDS. For the sake of simplicity, they all use the same stack, which is totally based on SAP, but as I already said, it would be also possible to connect non-SAP products to this process. So on the top, we have for all 3 parties the Project Intelligence Network, which is an SAP product that helps to establish a common data environment, to digitize the exchange of project information and connect them with a digital twin. Then we have the SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management and the cross-company workflow collaboration service. So the demo scenarios, it's basically the standard process that we used and that we use now to demonstrate you the capabilities of our service. So there's the Top Builder. And the Top Builder is basically the subcontractor, and they now have the job to build a train station. We have everything in place. We have the specification in place. We have basically the design in place. And now they collect materials they plan to use from their manufacturers. And the manufacturers, they provide them with product information regarding the materials. So what they need to get done now is to get an approval that the specifications of the materials that the supplier proposed are okay and can be confirmed by the design company and the contractor. So what they basically do is they start a submittal, and the submittal is basically, with the submittal, they are sending basically the product specifications to the main contractor and the design company. And they use local processes, so local workflows, to review the submittal and decide if they would approve or reject the submittal. And then they give back the feedback to the subcontractor that can now decide how they want to proceed with the process. So if everything is okay, they can basically start buying the materials, and everything is approved, they can buy the materials and start constructing the train station. Otherwise, they have to approach a different supplier or the same supplier and ask for a different material that would meet the requirements. So it's important to understand that this is all the same process for the subcontractor, but they rely on the decisions of the design company and the main contractor. So let's start a demo with the subcontractor. The subcontractor uses SAP Project Intelligence Network to manage his construction projects. So in this case, the construction of a train station in London. With this application, the subcontractor can manage all project participants that we already introduced. Moreover, there's also a digital twin of the project, including a 3D model, as you can see here. In the document section of the project, we already prepared a document that contains the specifications of the materials that a supplier proposed for the construction of an interior steel wall that will be part of the train station. The design company and the main contractor have to approve these specifications via the submittal process. To kickstart this process, the subcontractor has used the SAP cross-company workflow collaboration service to create a collaboration template and register this template on the blockchain. As you can see here, the task template has the description, review and approve product data. As you can see here, each template provides the participating members. So in this case, the design company and the contractor, the due date, and custom attributes like project name, task description, or whatever else makes sense in a specific context. The same task template can be used by multiple workflows to send collaboration tasks across company boundaries. Once the task template was created and registered on the blockchain, it can be consumed by any workflow. Now, to start the submittal approval process, a workflow that contains the task template previously defined is triggered from SAP Project Intelligence Network. In the SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management, the subcontractor can also monitor the already defined and already running workflow. In the workflow context, one can find many relevant information provided by the collaboration task template and by the SAP Project Intelligence Network, for example the task template ID or the project name. In the execution log, we can see that the workflow was triggered by the subcontractor. As a consequence, a collaboration task is created and distributed according to the task template configuration on the blockchain. The further execution is now paused due to the pending decisions from the contractor, so the main contractor, and the design company. Moreover, the collaboration task is registered on the blockchain in an undeniable way and can be accessed by all three members of the collaboration via the distributed ledger that is provided by the blockchain network. So let's switch to the main contractor that needs to review and approve the specifications. We start with the configuration part that is needed as a preparation to execute the business processes. Via the cross-company workflow collaboration service, the contractor can assign a specific internal workflow for all tasks that are defined by the same task template. In this case, the contractor assigns the workflow submittal WF power M to the task template, review and approve product data. The main contractor can use the Business Application Studio on the SAP Cloud Platform to define and update the workflow via a graphical low-code editor. This workflow is only owned by the main contractor and can be defined according to the individual requirements. So for example, it would be easily possible to define several internal approvers. In any case, the final decision and the result of the process would be registered on the blockchain and shared. This workflow has been automatically triggered by the cross-company collaboration service. So let's jump to the actual execution of the submittal approval workflow. As you can see, the responsible business user gets notified in their inbox in SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. This is of course only possible with the tight integration of the blockchain-based cross-company workflow collaboration service and SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. Now they can access the document and review the specifications. They can see that the steel panel is too heavy and thus they reject the proposed material. Also, the decision of the main contractor is registered on the blockchain in an immutable way and can be accessed by all three participants. So let's switch to the design company that also has to approve the specifications. Again, we start with the configuration part that is needed as a preparation to execute the business processes. Similar to the main contractor, the design company is able to assign a specific workflow for the same task template from the cross-company workflow collaboration service. In this case, the design company is using the submittal WF Big Build workflow, which is different to the workflow used by the main contractor. Similar to the submittal approval workflow from the main contractor, however, this workflow is also automatically triggered by the collaboration task from the subcontractor. So let's jump to the actual execution of the workflow. The responsible business users get also notified via their inbox in the SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. Here they can see all the information that comes with the collaboration template. Also a link, or this also includes a link to the document. In this case, everything looks good for the design company, and thus the request gets approved. So no issues found. And of course, also this collaboration step is registered on the distributed ledger. So let's go back to the subcontractor that actually started the whole cross-company workflow. In the workflow management, and to be precise in the execution log, we now can see that the cross-company workflow collaboration service from the subcontractor has now collected both approval decisions, sent back to the submittal workflow, resuming its execution, which was previously paused by the two pending approvals from the main contractor and the design company. And the responsible business user from the subcontractor would now get a new task in his inbox. So here we can see also more details regarding the approval decisions. So once it was confirmed, once it was rejected, and the business user can now actually close the workflow. What would most likely happen is that the subcontractor would reach out to another supplier or to the same supplier and ask for material that meets the requirement of the main contractor. Also, going back to the project intelligence network, also here the workflow is now shown as completed.
And of course, also this collaboration step and this information is now registered on the blockchain.
So let me summarize the key takeaways from the demo. Basically, we are providing 3 very important features for cross-company business processes with our innovation. First of all, we provide a very transparent and immutable audit log that gives every participant of a cross-company business process an overview about the current state of the process. It reduces the risk for fraud and misunderstandings and disputes that can only be solved nowadays with expensive audits. Secondly, we provide a high level of automation. With the collaboration template, we enable each organization that is involved in such a cross-company business process to define a workflow and that is automatically triggered when a specific task from a predefined task template comes in. So this really enables companies to automate business processes across the boundaries of organizations and also orchestrate them end to end. And the third capabilities is the integration into SAP Cloud Platform Workflow Management. So here, first of all, we have the integration into the process content and the business processes. And moreover, as you could see also in the demo, it's really a low-code environment. So we enable even business users and process experts to match the workflows with the collaboration template and also easily define the workflows itself. Moreover, it's very easy for them, of course, to execute the corresponding business processes via their inbox. So this really enables business users to react to changing environments so they can easily update their cross-company business process whenever needed and don't depend on their IT department or on skills when it comes to the development of software. So what is basically the next step? The next step is a customer engagement initiative that we will start in Q1 2021. So this is all about getting in touch with our customers and partners, and we would be very delighted if you would join us. So we would discuss your pain points and your jobs to be done when it comes to cross-company business processes to really build a compelling value-creating service. Moreover, we will discuss use cases in different industries and line of businesses like supply chain, finance, and whatever else makes sense. You will also get the opportunity to get your hands dirty and really test our service and give us feedback. So if you're interested, join via cross-company workflow at sap.com. So you can see the email address here or approach me directly. So if you want to learn more about SAP latest and greatest technology trends, also check out the TechEd Learning Hub. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Stefan and me. Thank you very much for your attention.